Good people of a great nation, it's a pleasure to welcome you on Development Focus with Jide Ojo this morning, this August day in March. Today is March 10, 2021. And so soon, we're in the third month. In fact, second week of the third month. And today on Development Focus, we are going to be talking journalism. Journalism. What's the role of journalists in national development? What do you understand by development journalism? I have caught a big fish that will be extraying development journalism with me this morning. It's no other than Otumba Gbenga Onoyiga. Otumba Gbenga Onoyiga is an household name when it comes to journalism in Nigeria. He's done this for over 40 years. Retired but not tired since 2014. He has been to 32 countries. He has visited all the states in Nigeria. He's an author of a book. He's a unionist. He twice served as vice president of the Nigeria Union of Journalists. He's a father, he's a grandfather, and you can see he's a board member. If you've listened to Ebenezer Obey's board members, he's a board member of Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. Otumba, you are welcome to this show.
My pleasure to be here, Mr. Jide Ojo, and it's a big privilege. Congratulations for a wonderful program. I don't miss it.
It's a great honor on my part to have someone like you who is a veteran journalist broadcaster. You are the longest serving political reporter in National Assembly. I'm not sure anybody has taken that trophy from you.
Yeah. I've not really found out, but at the time I left the field in 2007 as a National Assembly correspondent, I was privileged to be the longest serving as at that time. Yes, before then it was Boyega Moboye, formerly of Concord. He later moved to National Orientation Agency before he retired. Okay. And I've been covering the National Assembly with him. I met him on the beach in Lagos at Tafawa Balewa Square. That was the Second Republic. So in other words, I covered the Second, Third, and Fourth
and the
Republic.
Part of the Fourth Republic.
Exactly.
Interesting. Viewers, you don't want to miss this exhibition. Mark, let me, from the beginning, say you can join us on this. Our studio line is 0809 987 1989. I don't want to forget that because we want this to be very interactive. Peradventure, you want to know about the issue of Nigeria and development journalism. Many of you are students of, mass communication. This is a veteran that you need to learn from. Learn the practical aspect of journalism from. Now, Otumba, let's start from the very beginning. What lured you into journalism?
Yes, I picked interest right from primary school in listening to radio in particular. And there was a lady living opposite my house in the Butemeta, Lagos then. Butemeta East, Osholake Street to be precise. I liked the way she carried herself. In the morning, early in the morning, Radio Nigeria vehicle will come to pick her. In the evening, drop her, only for me to see an advert in Daily Times, when things were going properly in this country. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know lobby, nothing. I was just going through Daily Times. I used to save some money to buy Daily Times. It was the in thing. And I saw an advert and I applied. I was employed, and my first day resuming for that job, I saw that same lady who was like a role model, being my editor. And the lady late Mrs. Remi Oyo, who later became the MD of News Agency of Nigeria, became the spokesperson for the president, former President Olusegun Obasanjo. I mean, so that, and since I mean, that was it, and she did everything to encourage me, because I told her my story, and she mentored me.
Yeah, interesting.
She mentored me.
So you were there for you were with the Radio Nigeria for 35 years.
Yes, I was at a stage on and off. Got a political appointment as chief press secretary to a petroleum minister. I did that for about 4 years.
Which of the petroleum ministers?
A petroleum minister.
Okay, you don't want us to know the identity.
Don't need to go into details.
Okay.
I was in the ministry for some time anyway.
Okay.
I mean, as a spokesperson, I came back. I was also at the Bureau of Public Procurement. I stood in briefly for Dr. Oji when he went to Harvard for a program. So I spent some months there. I also worked briefly with the Minister of Information, Labra Maku. Partially during the good governance tour, I was more or less seconded to his office.
Okay.
I was in charge. I was one of those in charge of a documentation. Where else was I? Those are the major ones. We're here and there, but mainly a Radio Nigeria staff. And it may interest you to know that many people thought that having served a whole petroleum minister from there, I would just go straight to the industry, oil and gas, where obviously they were paying more. But right from day one, I had the conviction, I prepared my mind that I would go back to journalism, radio journalism in particular, because that was my first love. I never allowed money or some other things to lure me. Everything's not about money. And the day I resumed for work 8 o'clock, by 10 o'clock, I was already at an assignment, covered the assignment. 4 o'clock, I wrote the first headline story for Radio Nigeria. People couldn't believe it. Some people even took it personal. What's all this? Why should you come back to reporting, running after people, interviewing people? I said, what is that? I can't be bigger than my profession. This is the profession that made me. And I enjoy doing it. And I thank God that when I came back, I did it until I retired after serving for 35 years. I wrote a book, launched it. On the day of the launch, without even discussing with me, the DG announced publicly that he would want me to come back. He gave me 2 years, secondment to just help brush up, the younger ones further anyway, because I did a lot of mentoring too, but he felt, no, I shouldn't go. 55 years, you are going, and the election was around the corner, and with all my wealth of experience. So that's my story. So I stayed back for 22 years. In other words, I spent a total of 37 years with Radio Nigeria. A few weeks to my retirement, for my leaving finally, the President Buhari also appointed me as a board member of NAITI, Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. So I represented the Southwest on the board. And I was also chairman of communication and advocacy, and we made a mark. The thing has lapsed, the law. NAITI Act of 2007 made it very clear that once you are through for 4 years, you go for a board member. There's no question of reappointing you or you coming back. And as an executive secretary, you serve one term of 5 years. After 5 years, you go. Whatever magic, whatever restructuring, whatever you want to do within 5 years. And anyway, that's by the way. I wish we could adopt that in this country. A one-off thing. You do whatever you want to do within 4, 5, or 6 years, you go. Jakonde is a good example. 4 years, he turned things around in Lagos. That's a subject for that.
Interesting. Now, Otuba, you are everywhere in the media landscape. Your name you're like the Richard Quest of radio in Nigeria. Because I grew up hearing Benga Onoyiga. That voice on Radio Nigeria Network, it's unique. And when I came to Abuja, I met you. You dragged me in a number of times to come and on either interactive on Radio Nigeria or on the political programs and all of that. And you have always been there. And here you are. 7 years after retirement, you are looking like a 40s or 50s. Hey, what's the secret of your youthfulness?
Thank you very much. And I won't deceive myself. I'm not that young. Although deep down me, I feel very young. I feel 35, 40. That is the truth. And to answer your question, and for the benefit of colleagues in journalism and even in some other professions, once you you do what you like, what you have passion for. Once you don't have an insatiable appetite for money, realize that money is not everything. That satisfaction, that contentment, that's the key word.
Contentment.
That is it. I try from day one to be contented. You don't see me running helter-skelter for money, this, that. Yes, you have to use the Nigerian palace hustle. However, you shouldn't overdo this thing. You should make yourself happy. You should do what you enjoy doing, and you should be contented. And be close to your God as much as possible. No one is perfect. He is the only perfect being. You see, so that is just it. From again, prepare for the rainy day. Prepare for the rainy day. I was privileged to cover politics. It was a rare privilege. And once I started the transition program, they will bring in Egbenga and Oiga. Once nearly all the transition programs, right from the Second Republic, I was a major. I'm not an actor, but an observer. As far as Radio Nigeria is concerned, I was like I was becoming an authority, sort of. So the secret to go through to your question is plan. When the money, it may not be fantastic. All these allowances, your duty to all this and that, don't exhaust everything. Keep some, plow back. If at least in property, I recommend property. At least little tie these things up so that when you retire, you have something to fall back on. You must work towards having a roof over your head in this country, as far as it's concerned, so that when you retire, you have something to fall back on. Then your life, moderation, that's another key word. I drink, I socialize, but everything
in moderation.
That is it. Once you don't overdo these things, many of our people do overdo, allow fame to get into. That's another thing. Fame. You see, I get touched when I see my role models in the profession, big names in journalism, living big, using very big cars and stuff like that, and shortly after leaving the service, man, you'll be ashamed. The way you start. No, I from the way I said no, mine would not be like that. I will retire, but not retire into poverty, into penury. So I'm not claiming credit for this. I thank God Almighty for that. And however, one should work consciously. A lot abroad, the day you start a job is the day you start planning for retirement. We don't plan for retirement in Nigeria. Many of us, we don't plan for retirement. So that is it. I've left service 7 years ago, 7 solid years, so to speak. But again, the family life, we should work towards, we should pray to God. Because it's a matter of luck sometimes to have a good wife, which will lead to a good family,
and a
stable home. So I'm privileged to do that. I lived outside my family for 25 years in this Abuja. It doesn't make me a saint, but I never played with the home front. To use Miriam Babangida.
So you're not a grandfather. How does it feel?
Beautiful.
How does it feel to be a grandfather now?
I feel great. Even this morning I spoke with my grandchildren.
Grandfather at 60.
Before 60, I was a grandfather. Yeah. My first granddaughter is going to 10.
Wow. So yes. You were in your 50 when you became a grandfather.
Yes, that's another thing. I appeal to young men of nowadays not to wait until they have everything before getting married. Once God has shown you your wife, go in for it and you build a home together. For instance, I was saying someone yesterday, said, oh boy, aside from one room to room and a parlor to 2-bedroom, today I live in a duplex of my own and relaxed. I'm saying all this not to show off, but just to encourage people that you start from somewhere. You don't need to have everything before you go. I'm not saying you should marry too early, but to get to a stage that if I the life expectancy now, so it's not advisable to wait until you are 50 and 60.
This is not about you per se. It's about the profession. But I need to encourage the Nigerians and even non-Nigerians watching you to know, this. You are a role model to us, we younger generation. You are very inspiring to me. I've followed you through in the last 15 years or thereabout.
Thank you very much.
And I'm inspired. We share a lot of values, when it comes to this profession.
Yeah.
Even though I also belong to the civil society, just like you, because you are also part of us now. Otumba, let's come to development journalism.
Yep.
What is it all about?
Thank you very much. It's a subject that is very dear to my heart. It's a subject some professional colleagues may not necessarily agree with me, but it's the in thing. It should be the in thing. And I remember in the early 90s, there was this conscious effort to turn things around in Nigeria as regards the practice of journalism. You know, at our level of development, that should be the focus, for goodness sake. We know everything started from the West. Most of these things, well, historians will anyway confirm that. However, things should be contextualized. We live in an environment. Whatever we pick from Europe or America, all these more developed countries or developed democracies should be adapted in such a way that it will serve our purpose, our environment. And talking about this issue of development journalism, it's all about focusing on sustainable development. It is, you know, and humanitarian issues. Those are more dear to us. We are redefining the concept of journalism, or even the definition. Yes, journalism is generally about news gathering, dissecting it, analyzing it, and then disseminating in public interest. Yes, that's a simple definition of journalism. And when you talk about analyzing this, in other words, the reporter, the journalist, has the option, has that privilege of deciding what makes the news to him. He's trained to know how to identify news. A good reporter, a good journalist must have a nose for news. That's what we call nose for news. Another person will just see news and walk past. A journalist will say, no, this is the news. However, how do we define, how do we identify what news is in our environment? What I'm saying is that as a developing country, and Nigeria in particular, it shouldn't all about negativity. The West sees news as something negative. They've gone far. They have all the basic infrastructure working. The same is not the case with us in a country like Nigeria. You see, what makes news to them do not necessarily need to make news to us. They say, okay, well, I may be relevant anyway, that if man, I'm just trying to paint a clearer picture of what news is all about, you know. They say if a dog bites a dog, no, man bites a man.
If a dog bites a man, it's no news.
But if man bites a dog, it's news. Okay, and again, in US in particular, they say if it leads, you know, if it bleeds, then it leads. You understand? It's all about oddity, strange things, unusual stuff. That's what makes news to them. But in our own case, there are so many what I describe as silent revolution taking place that I ignored because of our wrong definition or understanding of what news is. You know, so many things happening. See the ingenuity. Positive things. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Positive, that's what I mean. Positive things. And that doesn't stop you from reporting
the negative, but not overhyping the negative.
That is just it.
I mean, we just had a Director General of World Trade Organization who is a Nigerian, a woman of substance. That if it were to be in the West, this woman would be celebrated for a whole year. There would be a Nigerian journalist dedicated to our office. Yeah. To report on our activities, and I hope maybe Radio Nigeria and Nigerian Television Authority should be able to dedicate a staff to the office of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to cover our, day-to-day itinerary, to articulate and showcase to the world because that is our ambassador. I mean, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, who is covering him at African Development Bank. Is it only when they hold annual general meeting that you now say, okay, they held? What about the daily, the monthly, the quarterly, the national, annual achievements of this man? So, I mean, we have this, Amina Mohammed, who is also, so these are part of the development journalism we're talking about, isn't it?
I totally agree with you. I wish those stations you mentioned could, will have the relevant resources to do the needful. However, there's always a way out. I'm sure those individuals you mentioned will have their media units that can be pushing these stories to us, and we take them up. Like you said, it shouldn't be only the crisis that
Boko Haram insurgency.
No. Before we go into that, Dr. Akiwumi and even Dr. Okojo, you know what preceded the election, and when Trump and his people
didn't want them to,
and the same West was against Adesina before God Almighty saw him through, and there was so much attention, there was a lot of stories about that. That is, yes, I'm not saying we should kill the story, or those stories, those developments. However, they waded through, and now, like you said, there should be more focus on the activities around the way they're impacting in the organizations and impacting on the economies of their member countries, with special focus on Nigeria. What is the need for Nigeria? You see, so it's not out of place. There's a law. You hardly read about Akinwumi now, and even Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, very soon now, you hardly, until there's a crisis, it shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't die, exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, coming back home now, even life expectancy, to me, somehow, is picking up. It's not what it was. This is an area we can focus on. The issue of even food, plenty of food. People are farming. They are doing a lot. But,
the anchor borrowers program of CBN, the food, the rice pyramid that the CBN governor just
people hardly talk about this issue of the revolution in
agriculture,
with special focus on rice all over, rice mills all over. A friend took over the farm between Lagos and Ogun, and they took him to. I was I've been saying, each time I'm going to Jabode from Ikorodu, I see that farm, and I thought, it no longer function. But he said, no, they are producing. Nobody is talking about it. In other words, nearly every country in this country can grow at least rice. Out of cassava. I think I read recently that we are now the largest producing cassava. Cassava. We've always been high. We don't talk about these things. These are issues that I will urge our colleagues in the media to pay special attention to, and not just killing here, Boko Haram, banditry. That's all you hear in the news. Such that one of my grandchildren, not long ago, these children are very intelligent. I say their brains can be computerized, unlike our own that we are just right. You just say, Daddy, you don't miss a particular channel at a particular time, but each time, because I force all of them to watch. I made them to pick interest in news, not only is it Nickelodeon or all these channels, Z World, and I said no, spare 15-20 minutes for news at least, then you can go back to those other foreign channels. So okay, just to satisfy me, I will stop them from going elsewhere to watch the news. I want them to be with me and know what is happening around them. You see, and they will say that each time we tune to this channel, the first 10 minutes or so will be about disaster, these killings, and even me at a stage to even watch news in Nigeria, because you know what to expect. It's all about disaster. It's all about you to even drive out of your house, you get scared.
The gripping fear.
Going back to the issue of development journalism, while not saying those things should not be reported, for goodness sake, can't it be the other way around? Those positive things happening, can't we highlight them, then mention these other ones? I know some people will disagree with me, but it is being done, and some other developing countries are doing that.
Yeah, but the level of crime in U.S. is said to be, in New York alone, is more than what we experience in Nigeria. But when you watch CNN, they are talking about the development, the COVID-19 vaccine, how they are able to overcome this challenge, how they were able to. Somebody is going to the space trip. There is a Japanese billionaire that wants is it 3 or 6 people to come with him in 2023 to go to space? They want to go to moon and see and live for 6 days in the moon. That is a positive story, even in a pandemic world. So that it's not just about negative, depressing news that doesn't inspire anybody. And that's part of the reason why we have this program, is development focus. What are the development giant strides? How do we find solutions to the northern Nigerian problem? And that is why, I said you must come to tell us. Ladies and gentlemen, you can join us on this program by calling in on our studio line 0809 987 1989. It's on your screen. 0809 987 1989. You can join us. My guest is here to answer your question. Anything about journalism. This is Mr. Journalism himself. He's telling you the way it is. We need to change our focus as media practitioners, as journalists. It's not about fake news. Nobody is saying publish fake news. But let's tone down hate speeches. Let's tone down the negative rhetorics of journalism. Let's have a more positive headlines so that at least your soul will be lifted. I mean, the president is, there is groundbreaking of a lot of projects, and this should be the headline, not just about abductions on our streets and all of that. So, back to the issue. How do you think we can turn things around? You had a master's degree in media arts from University of Abuja after your first degree in political science, and of course you are a trained journalist from NIJ Ogba. Now all of this, you package all of this so academically you are very sound. Practically in terms of hands-on, how do we turn these things around? How do we get NUJ on board of this development journalism?
I remember in the early 90s, I was in Lagos. Lad Lawal, of blessed memory, former GMD of Dark Communications, was chairman of NUJ then. And I remember NUJ getting some form of assistance from the UN to focus on this issue we are talking about, and seminars were held. Some activities were put in place to reorientate journalists, to make them focus on this issue we are just talking about. But unfortunately, thereafter, nobody talks about it again. Is talking about if it bleeds, it leads, and that has been the focus. I think we should go back to the basics. Okay,
we'll go back to the basics. Let's have a small break and we'll come back shortly to take, please, we'll still follow your train of thought, but we need to go on a short break now. Like I said, you can join us on this program. We are talking development journalism as it relates to Nigeria. What can we do differently? So you can call in to speak with my guest, Otuba Gbenga Onoyiga, on 0809 987 1989. 0809 987 1989. So you can join us, call in. My Twitter handle is @GDOJONG. You can send me You can tweet at me at GDOJONG. You can also send me messages on WhatsApp on 0809 0803 588 9012. That is my WhatsApp line. 0803 588 9012. You can send message on WhatsApp. But if you want to call in, please do call in on 0809 987. Okay, we have our first caller. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Esther. I'm calling from Kaduna.
Esther from Kaduna, yes. What's your question?
Nothing.
Oh, nothing. Thank you. Thanks for calling in. We are very grateful. So you can call in, like I said, on 0809 987. Okay, we have another caller. Hello? Hello? Please do call in again. I think we are having some issues with network. And like I said, you can call us in on 0809 987 1989. Hello? We've lost that call. Now, Otumba, let's get. So, how do we have spoken broadly about this development journalism? Okay, we see we are having a call. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. What's the name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is I'm calling from Abuja. Bawa is my name.
Bawa?
Yes.
Okay, from where in Abuja?
From Garki.
Okay, what's your question?
Yes, I listen to Benga. You see, politics, journalism of today is like a political party. Yes, what is happening in those days? That today, the journalism of today is their own reporting on bad image of the Nigerians. What is happening that is no good is what will continue repeating. Good things are happening everywhere. The journalism of today are not reporting those things. I watch CNN, there's nothing you can see. They don't show you anything. The jungle, they don't show you anything. They show good things of those America and the rest. Please, journalism of those days, let us come back to it. Let us showcase what is good, what is happening in Nigeria today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bawa. We are very grateful. Otumba, you just echoing your thoughts about a lot of good things, positive things that is happening in Nigeria that Nigeria media is not talking about. The profiling is such that we are hyping so much. Another caller.
Hello.
Hello, what's the name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Akuna. I'm speaking from Apple.
Your name is what?
Akuna from Apple.
Akuna from Akpo. Okay. What's your question?
Yes. I think journalism today, they are doing their work, they are trying. But their problem is that in the areas of
Hello, Akuna. Sorry, you can call back. We seem to have lost that call. I think network is not our friend on this morning. So let's get back to how do we reorientate? Is it from the universities that we start talking development journalism, or is it the unions? We have the Nigerian Guild of Editors, we have the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Excuse me, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, you are around. What's the name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
I can hear you. What is the name and where are you calling from?
I'm Abdurrahim, calling from Mapu in Abuja.
Okay, Abdurrahim. Hello?
I can can hear you.
Okay, Abdul Hakim from Apple, what's your question?
Yes, my question is that what you people are important is very, very important. Hello, sir.
We are hearing you.
Okay. What you people are saying is very, very important. You know, in Nigeria now, when you tune to a channel, a news station,
We are listening.
can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So, there's nothing they will show on the news apart from disasters, killing here, kidnapping, all these things, which is very bad. And I think there's a lot of good things happen around where they cannot even give news about it. What we hear is just killing here, herdsmen that, herdsmen this. And I think people behind this thing, the reason why they are not growing up in this country is hatred. Because you see the opposition party, they will not allow the ruling party to do the right thing. The reason why they are giving all this impression is that for people to be seeing everything wrong about them. And whenever this kind of goes again, and the other one, that's the reason they are not grown up in Nigeria. The other people who started working against the ruling party again. So that's the reason why things are like this in Nigeria. So that's my contribution, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother. We've taken note of that. So, how do we encourage development journalism? It's a challenge. October is a challenge.
You mentioned it at that time. I think we should start from training of journalists, the journalism school, mass communication departments. I mean, in fact, it should be a subject on its own. It should be a course of development journalism.
Okay.
You should focus on it. Then the professional bodies, Nigerian Press Organization made up of Nigerian Union of Journalists, Nigerian Guild of Editors, and this Proprietors Association of Nigerian PAN. It should focus on this specially. I know, as a former official of NUJ, that the present leadership is thinking in that direction, and I'm optimistic they will do something. I'm also privileged to be the chairman of the board of trustees of a media-based NGO called the Vision Center for Communication and Development Advocacy. You can see the relevance. You know, we are very soon we are doing something in that direction. It's just a matter of, reminding our people of that commitment to national development, that journalism can only make a better society if we focus more on reporting issues of development, issues that will get us to the El Dorado, issues that will encourage foreign investors to come to this country, and not negativity. There's too much of negativity. And I must be very clear about before I misunderstood. We are not saying that the negative one should not be reported. But
excuse me.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
Good morning. I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, please, can you tune down the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you clearer?
Hello.
Hello, tune down the volume of your TV. Move away from your TV. Oh, okay. We lost that call. Okay, so let's get on.
You see, it's just changing that orientation. The training we went through actually talks about this. Definition of news on its own is, some elements of news. There must be some elements of
yes, that auditing or the unusual thing.
That's what.
So there's a need to change the curriculum of that. Look, yes, while you report the auditings, the strange things, do focus more on because, like you said, the genocide of Rwanda in 1994 was orchestrated or amplified by the media. The people were doing their things, and it was being reported on radio, the ethno-religious, Hutus and Tutsis, and before you know it, lives, millions were lost in Rwandan genocide.
My brother, to even worsen the whole thing is this new. I'm minding my language.
Social media, you mean?
So,
new media.
Everybody is a journalist now.
Citizen journalism.
Citizen, that's the word. It's terrible. I was privileged to be I was the only Nigerian attending the World Media Summit in Moscow, Russia, 2012, and the focus was on this. How do we go about this? How do we manage? How do we handle social media, the advent of social media? And the consensus, not to waste your time, was that we should encourage trained journalists to go into social media. They should start publishing a newspaper online. And I'm happy that in Nigeria, we have plenty of that.
Okay, let me pause you and take this call. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning. You are on to Development Focus with Jido Joe on ITV.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay. I can hear you.
What is your name and where are you calling from?
Raymond. And I'm calling from Kuje.
Okay, Raymond from Wuye, please tune down the volume of your radio set or move away from your tune down the volume of your TV set or move away from it, and let's hear your comment or question.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So, I want to talk about.
Sorry.
Please, let me quickly land.
Yes.
This, you see, so the more journalists, trained journalists we have in that particular medium of communication, which is the internet, the social media, the better. Because, hey, God, you see all sorts of oddities. How can you, for goodness sake, show a woman being beheaded, being all sorts of terrible things, or there's an accident, you show people bleeding? It's unethical. It's an anomaly. It's never allowed in journalism per se. But now everybody claims, so many bloggers, they didn't even bother to go to have the basic training in journalism. I'm advocating that whoever wants, yes, they call journalism an open profession. There's nothing bad. Can you have a degree in mathematics or geography or whatever, you want to go to journalism, no problem. But you must have the basic knowledge, even to learn the ethics. You see, so what is happening now, I can assure you, it's not the handiwork of trained journalists. I'm not saying we don't have our own bad eggs or people refuse to grow, but this citizen journalism thing has worsened it. You see all sorts of terrible things. 100 people have been killed. This from this tribe. That's from. We were trained that if you go to a place and maybe 10 people were killed, maybe somewhere up north, 10 people with marks, maybe Yoruba marks, that you show that this person is from this particular place. While reporting it, you don't say that people from a particular place have killed people. Who are, you don't mention. You can say 10 people were killed. Don't go to that detail.
Hello? Hello? Sorry.
So you don't go into that detail. Yes, you've seen it. It's obvious that these people maybe are from a particular part of the country.
Yeah.
But you don't, and the reason is this. You report that 10 people were killed or slaughtered. Nobody's stopping you. But the danger is that if you go into that detail,
don't go into ethnic profiling.
Ethnic profiling, because it will just pack off reprisal attacks. That innocent souls will have gone. You see, so we need a lot of enlightenment, reorientation, and I will not say we should use force, but I believe many of our people, many Nigerians are reasonable. If you're able to convince them about the danger and cite this, the calamity, the genocide in a place like Rwanda, you will know. I mean, even in Nigeria, it happened now. Something will happen in the village, and before you know it, in another part of the country, they will say, they've killed so and so tribal people, You have to.
And sometimes some of these news turn out to be fake because you didn't do the counting, nobody waited, but you hear says, and then you publish it on social media that 25 people have been murdered.
I'm an advocate of training and retraining at least in journalism, which is my field. You cannot safely say 5 people were killed. Yes, you saw them maybe lifeless, but you are not a medical doctor. You have to certify that they are dead. It requires a medical doctor to know whether this particular person is actually dead before you can report. So there are checks and balances in the profession. So people should.
So as we round up because of time. Can we look at the way forward? Particularly, you've spoken to the issue of insecurity and the nexus between insecurity and development journalism, like this issue of reportage of conflict. There is something called conflict-sensitive reportage, so that you don't exacerbate, you don't worsen, you don't inflame passion by your reporting. And the ethnic tensions are very well pronounced across the length and breadth of Nigeria now. So we need to err on the side of caution. Is that not what you are trying to say?
I totally agree with you. I've followed out with many friends and colleagues on the various platforms. Some of them I'm privileged to be the admin. I've yanked off so many people, warned them, cautioned them. They will say, no, you yank them off. Say, because you are putting me into trouble too. This thing you are posting, it has to be verified. You can't be misleading people. You can't be, what happened in recent times across the country, particularly in my part of the country. I see it as a sort of ignorance or ignorant, because they don't. So those who perpetuate this don't even know the implications. So I've taken my time, one little way to educate them that this thing you are doing.
So invariably, you think the unions, the labor, the professional bodies have a role to play in this development journalism.
Yes.
The school authorities' curriculum have to be fixed to have as part of it development journalism as a course, and then maybe the government also needs to come up and be more vibrant and proactive to also put out the truth so that you don't also hide things from your citizens as to leave room for speculations and false peddling of falsehood. Any other final thought as we round up?
You've captured it. It's just my final thought is that while we have a job to do as professionals, while guarding against the continued infiltration by untrained hands into the noble profession of journalism, the profession that made Nigeria, who in Nigeria started, many of them, 85% of them started as a journalist. I don't want to go into that detail. While preserving that profession, we should ensure that we do the right thing. We should ensure that we focus more on positivity than on negativity. It's no crime, you see. A lot of balancing, and having in mind that we can only practice these are a noble profession if there is a country. If there is no country, if there is crisis, if there is civil war, if there is genocide, if there is promotion all over the place, man, there won't be a country to say you are practicing. And to the bloggers and to the intruders into the journalism, please, for goodness sake, be careful. You can make your money through some other professions or trades. Don't bastardize journalism for us. Okay. Thank you very much.
Please don't bastardize journalism for us. We need to protect our country. We need to be doing more on positivity than negativities. Conflict-sensitive reportage. That's the words coming from elder statesman Otumba Oluwagbemiga Onayiga, the one and only October of Makumi in Ogun State, grandfather, author, and veteran broadcaster. It's a pleasure to have you on this show.
Thanks so much, Mr. Jidojo. Wonderful, great guy. I mean, I love this show. I love your appearances. You are making history. You've made a mark. And let me commend ITV for allowing this platform. And with special focus, it's all about development.
Yes,
that's all we should be concerned about at our level of development. Exactly. So when we get to that height, we can now, No news again.
Okay, that's where we have to put a pause on this segment of Development Focus with Jidojo. There's another one coming up which you will enjoy as much as you have enjoyed this particular segment. Please do stay tuned. Thank you.